Howdy, everyone. Welcome. I apologize for getting on here a little late. I had an opportunity to go hang out with my nieces that I don't get very often. So I decided to go meet up with them, and here I am. And then I said, you know what? I was supposed to go live. I have to go live. I have to show up like I said I was going to. So here I am. And today I'm going to be sharing a bit about my process that I went through. So I made a post in a business group about crossing the $3 million in sales mark, which is a really big mark. And people ask me, like, how long did that take? That was from, I think, like October of 2020. So that was about 4.5 years. So you guys can do the math on that. But I wanted to talk today a bit about the process of how I went from making literally no money on YouTube to this year potentially that we're going to make over $1 million selling guitar courses. How crazy is that? It's pretty exciting. So the first thing that I tell clients and people that I work with, hey, the first thing we got to do is audience. It is so important. I was just on a podcast a couple weeks ago, and that was one of the things we talked about, audience. You have to know who you're serving. You have to know who that person is. And it's more than just like some guy or some girl. You have to know specifically. So on my guitar channel, it's very specific. It's a man. Now, granted, do I have students that are female? Yes, I do. But my person generally is a male, typically over the age of 60. So retirees, males over the age of 60 that want to learn to play guitar. They've probably been married. They probably have kids. All right. And they've had this lifelong dream of being able to play guitar. And now that they're retired, they finally have the time. So you can see how specific my person is, so that when I make content here on YouTube, I make content specifically for that person. All right. So that's number one. You have to know your audience. Two, you have to know their problems. Okay. So I've got this person and I know what their problems are. So for my guitar students, they've probably tried doing this before and they were working with a bad teacher and it didn't quite work out so well. So I can touch upon that and why it's different to work with me versus some other guitar teacher that they've worked with before. Okay. Maybe they tried when they were younger and they just either weren't into it or felt like they weren't talented enough, or life just got in the way, right? They were too busy. Okay. And then another big problem I have is a lot of them are here on YouTube trying to learn to play guitar, but it's so haphazard. They don't have a system. They don't have a process. So I show them through my teaching here on YouTube how having step-by-step instruction and how having a process can be much more helpful than haphazardly trying to find things all over the place. Like I tell them, I'm like, I have hundreds of videos here on YouTube. And yes, you could go watch all of them and you'll probably learn a lot. But doing it in order is kind of the key. And people ask me that about, building courses and putting stuff on YouTube, because eventually that's what we want to get to. We want to get to a point where when we know our audience, we know their problems, we know their pain points. All right, they're struggling. There's this thing they want to do and they're struggling with it. And we're hoping that when they type into search on YouTube or they type into search on Google, because sometimes YouTube videos show up on Google, we hope that we're the person that shows up with the answer to their question. Okay. So these are people who know they have a problem. They're typing it in search and they're actively searching for a solution to their problem, or at least trying to get a little bit more information on their problem, right? So once we do that, that's what we do. We put things in a system. We put things into a course. So for me, on the guitar side of things, that is the 7-level guitar system. On the business side of things, for me, I do have a YouTube course and I do have a course on how to, build a course and market a course. All right. Some people are looking for the step-by-step on that as well. And depending on what you do, you'll probably have a system for the way you do things, how you help move clients from point A to point B. All right. That's going to be your process. That's going to be your system. All right. And we want to let people know that we have a system, that we have a solution to their problem. I had someone message me the other day and they're like, I'm really not selling a lot of my courses. I have a decent YouTube following, but I'm not really getting anywhere with it. And I tell them, like, are you actively selling your program on YouTube? Are you telling people that you have a program? Okay, now YouTube does not like when you send people away from the platform. Okay, so you can't do this every video, but 20 to 25% of your videos, one in every 5 or one in every 4 videos, should be a full-on sales pitch at the end of the video for your product and service. So sometimes I'll just gloss over it. I'll just mention it very, very briefly, saying, hey, if you're enjoying this, I do have a full course. I'll put a link in the description below. Let's keep going. Or I'll just say, hey, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lauren Bateman, and I specialize in helping older adults learn, or I'll say older adults over the age of 50. I do specify, say, I'm Lauren, I specialize in helping older adults over the age of 50 have more fun with their guitar. And that's why we're doing a cool song like this song, which tends to be something that my audience likes. So it tends to be a song that's either from the 60s or 70s that my audience likes. Okay, so we want to post content that is relevant to our audience and solves their problems. And then we're going to allude to the fact that, hey, if you enjoy what I did here, I have something else. Go to my website. So for the business program, I have a free YouTube crash course. So I'll tell people, hey, go to the link in the description below, sign up for my free crash course, and we'll go from there. And that's what you do. You just try to get them off of YouTube onto your platform, which is usually your website. All right, so I have a website in WordPress, and then all my courses are hosted in a platform called Kajabi. Now, why don't I host my website in Kajabi is because I think SEO-wise, Kajabi is a little bit limited. So I use WordPress. I do have a separate website. Also, I've had laurenbateman.com since 2009, I think, 2008, 2009. So I had it before Kajabi even existed. All right. I had it in the early days of when, YouTube was getting going. It was my performance website. So I always had laurenbateman.com. So I never switched it over to Kajabi. I just kept it a separate website. Could you do everything in Kajabi? Absolutely, you could. But from an SEO standpoint, search engine optimization, I do think something like Squarespace or WordPress works better. When I started here on YouTube, I used Squarespace for a number of years, and then I switched over to WordPress for just a little bit more better functionality. So overall, this is the steps that you need to take. 1, you got to know your audience. Who's the person that you are talking to when you're doing these videos and you're delivering content? 2, you have to know what their specific problems are. Okay, so for example, if I'm talking about weight loss for women in their 40s versus weight loss for men in their 20s, all right, if the advice might be a little bit different, or the way I'm going to talk to them might be a little bit different, okay, because they're in different stages of life and life development. All right, so you need to know their problems. You got to know their pain points. All right, the pain points of a 20-year-old male trying to get fit in the gym might be different from a woman in her 50s that's trying to get back in shape and go to the gym. Okay, so the goals might be very different. The pain points, there may be some overlap, but they might be very, very different. So you have to understand what their specific pain points are so that you can touch upon those in your content and let people know that you can help them with that. Okay, just like the system. Okay, if you're over here on YouTube and it's haphazard and you're finding things here and there and you're looking for a system, go to my website. I have the system. It's the 7-level guitar system, and it will help you in a step-by-step order. Okay, that's what you want to tell people. I have something that will solve your problem. It's called this. I'll put a link in the description below. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build content here on YouTube around those problems so that when they type into search, whether it's YouTube or Google, they're going to find the answer, and hopefully it's you. Very sorry. It's allergy season here. I am dying. My nose is running. I have a cough in my throat. Let me drink some water. That's why I brought water live. Or iced coffee. I might have to cut this short because I'm just not doing the greatest, but I'm showing up. Even if I have an allergy cough. But you want to put the content here on YouTube. Okay, you want to solve the problems, and then you want to allude to the fact that, hey, go to my website, go buy this course, because if you're not selling actively on YouTube, you're not going to sell anything. Okay, I had a video that went viral and people did go and search for me. I didn't have a course when I recorded that video, so I couldn't tell people I had a course because at the time I didn't. There was no link in the description. There was no call to action in the video. So people like the content so much that they did actively go and search me out and find my course. But you want to make it easy for people. You want to say, hey, this is my website, or I'm going to put a link in the description below. Here's where you can go find my product and service. I would love to have you. This is the problems that it solves. And the link is right down in the description below. I'll hope to see you guys over there. And that's how you get people off of YouTube onto your website. And that has been my entire process. Use YouTube to go fishing, to find people, and then send them over to my website to sell products and services. All right, everyone, I'm going to hop off because I got to go blow my nose or something. So I will see you all very soon. Thanks for popping on here, and I'll catch you later. Bye.